Years ago, I worked with a young woman who some people consider, kind of odd. To me, she was cool. She stayed to herself. She didn't really bother anybody. One day she walked up to me. She got real close to my ear and she delivered a message that I needed to hear that day. And after she spoke, she reached out and placed some money in my hand. You know how our grandmothers used to do right before we would leave the house. They kind of tuck a $20 bill in your hand. I sat there for a long time, after she left and just was like in deep thought after what she told me. The message was intense, it was heavy, and it was exactly what I needed to hear that day. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that the Most High God was using her. I didn't think she was crazy. I've learned that when we put labels on people, we limit how God can show up in our lives. I talked about this before, about how God shows up for us. It isn't always like this loud thunder and lightning encounter. Sometimes it's just a stranger telling you that one thing you've been praying about in private. A lot of spiritual teachers online talk about visions, dreams, the Lord will give them. I share my own messages from time to time. I like to sit with the message, wait, pray, listen for the lesson tied to the dream, and then I'll share it. Spending time praying, talking to God, He will reveal things that are hidden. The problem is most of us are just too busy to look. There was a story recently shared online that I saw. It was like a little girl and her mother. They were on a bus. They were headed into town. And during the ride, the little girl received a divine warning. She heard the message so loud it scared her. And the message was something bad is about to happen. And, she was instructed to get the people off the bus. She started telling the people on the bus they need to get off, but she was small and her voice was young. So no one was listening. She had to say it over and over again before the driver finally stopped. And it was just her and her mother that got off. Sure enough, further down the road, the bus had a terrible accident and lives were lost. The enemy loves to keep us distracted with worldly things. And, we tell ourselves we don't have time to pray. We don't have time to just sit with God. We say, let me just see what's trending online first, or I'll just scroll for a few minutes. We are all guilty of this. I imagine God looking at us saying, okay, I see you're too busy right now. I'll wait to maybe wake you up after midnight. And then midnight comes, the early hours, and you're stirred up, you're wide awake, and you don't know why. But instead of praying, what do? We reach for our phone, we start scrolling again. And God is like, okay, if you won't listen in the silence, He'll use someone else to get to you. He loves you so much, so you're online. You didn't want to get up and pray, but you clicked on a video that should not even be on your news feed online. Your news feed is usually maybe sports, gaming, or cooking, but there's this video that's sticking out in big bold letters. It says prophetic warning. So you click it, you don't know why, and after maybe like 3 minutes you can't move. You don't click away, and the person on the screen speaking, they're literally speaking directly to your soul. Everything you've been avoiding, everything you've been doing in secret is being revealed in that small message. You're being asked to turn back to God now before it's too late. To the outside world, the person delivering the message, they might not look like someone God is even using. They might look odd, or they might not fit your idea of a religious leader, but the words they are saying are a mirror of how you've been showing up to the world. Before I end the video, I want to say to my people who question how God shows up, I want to challenge you to stop looking for that loud thunder and lightning miracle and start paying attention to the quiet messenger, the ones that are usually overlooked, the ones that are called fake, or that God ain't using them. You might need to pay attention and then start saying thank you to the Most High God for never giving up on you.